Hey YouTube, let's talk about headlamps. While I don't have like an extremely large collection of headlamps, I do have some. This is just a sample of some I have. And I would have to say though that because I'm a bit more budget conscious, I tend to kind of lean toward those that have a really high value in terms of what it offers. And so I'm not against actually like lights that um, cost $50 to $100. I actually do have some of those, but they just tend to be more like handheld flashlights or spotlights. But when we're talking about headlamps, there's so many different types, and what I mean by this is not just the actual, bulb or LED, but I'm talking about the housing. Some are built a lot stronger than others. There are generic brands that aren't like really that bad. And then there's also name brand lights that have a lot of problems. And so it's kind of confusing of what to pick out there. And then also you look at these lights and you're like, okay, what kind of, for example, benefit would I get with a larger lens than maybe say a smaller lens? I mean, is it going to really create a difference, in the light output? And it actually does. And so it's like a bunch of information to take in, like how much, impact resistance do you need in a light? How heavy the light? What kind of batteries do you want to put in your light? How bright, and your water resistance, do you want just your light to resist just light splashes? Or do you want your light to be able to go underwater if it needs to, for a period of time? And so I've tried some of these lights on the market, not all of them by any means. And I have to say, though, that typically my comfort range is around $20 or less for a headlamp. That's just me. And once again, I'm not like totally against going higher than that. But, you can typically get around 200 or so lumens for the $20 or less range. So for me, though, when I think of how much light do I need in a headlamp, it's really rare that I need more than 200 lumens. I really don't really see a lot of reason for that. Now, a lot of people love those high output lights, but they also come with the caveat that you have to have more specialized batteries or the runtime is a little bit lower. Now, some of the newer lights, the LEDs are so efficient that they do give you decent run times. So that's becoming less of an issue over time. But what I like to say, though, is that there's a lot of good lights that are literally between $5 and $6 all the way up to around $15 that really deliver the goods. And in particular, just recently, as you know, I got some new Rayovac headlamps between $10 and $14. This one I've had for a long time. This is going to be a Walmart special, if you will. And, I don't have any problems with it, though. I mean, this light has worked and worked. And so I can't really say that there's anything wrong with this. I think it was like $6, I believe, this light here. And I don't know. It's kind of like, some people look at the brand, Ozark Trail, and they go, oh, that's complete crap. Even though it doesn't have a water rating, it's not like, tested for that. And I didn't even see like an O seal on that, but I haven't had any problems out in the rain. I'm not saying you won't, but you do kind of get what you pay for to some degree, but there's also some items out there that are really high value. And so maybe it's a backup light, an Ozark Trail headlamp could do the job, and they have them all different kinds of outputs. So if you need more efficient battery usage, you could drop down to something like this. I can't remember exactly, but it was either like 45 or 50 lumens. And on low, it has an unbelievable runtime. And you can get them with brighter outputs too, but once again, you suffer the consequences in terms of getting less runtime. But for a survival or a prepping type of headlamp, you'd want at least to have the option to step it down to a lower mode of operation so that if you had to stretch out the battery life, you could. Some people, though, when they go camping, they're not so concerned about battery life. They bring an extra set of batteries, and they're typically only out in the woods for maybe a day or two at most anyways. Most people are just weekend warriors, and that's just how it goes. So they don't really think, especially if they're not preppers, they don't really think of why they would need a high efficiency light. And so over time, though, you'll see that, lights like this Foxelli MX10 that has a built-in rechargeable USB rechargeable battery, you can't take it out. You can't put just regular alkaline batteries in there. So you're stuck with what the battery that it comes with. And if you are out in the woods, even if you had a fresh set of batteries, you're not going to have any use because you can't actually make this work. So there's limitations with dedicated built-in batteries. And so that's why I probably won't be adding any more of those to my collection. Even though the MX10 by Foxelli it's a pretty nice little light. But I have to say, though, you can get 2 or 3 lights for the same amount of money that actually gives you more options, especially to change out batteries or to use different types of batteries. For example, it could be rechargeable AAA batteries. It could be alkaline batteries. It could also be lithium batteries. So, there's a thing, though, that just because you can plug it directly into a USB jack or whatever, or you can, take a cord and plug it in and it's convenient, doesn't mean it's actually better overall. I would rather have, even if I have to take the batteries out and put it in a separate charger to charge it, do that than be stuck with just one battery type that's built in. Now, in terms of generic lights, over here, I've had these 2 lights for probably, 5 to 7 years. I really have lost track. Got these off of eBay, and I will tell you, these are about as generic as you can possibly get, but they're actually okay. They're not built real well. In fact, you can even see here in this, the reflector, it's cracked already. But yet, as you can see, it is really bright. I don't really know what the real brightness is. It's also very generic. Even the packaging didn't specify, but I would have to say, in my opinion, it's probably between 180 lumens and 250 lumens is probably where it's at. And this was many, many years ago. So it's kind of impressive off of 3 AAA batteries, and they both still work. I bought 2 of them all those years ago, and they both still work just fine. And it's kind of shocking, really, that they have held up to all the abuse. Even though these I don't take camping because I don't want to, put all my faith into lights that only cost like $2. But man, they still work, and they're actually built pretty okay. The fit and finish is not great, but they're actually decent. In terms of the plastic is nice and hard and thick, and it's really it's pretty durable. I mean, even the rotating bezel here, it still works. It's very positive, as you could hear. And so, over time, though, it does get a little bit looser, but it's all, the headband still works. There's no like falling apart. And so I just wanted to say that, you can get lights that are really cheap, but it's a hit and miss. This could have easily not worked out for me. And so that's just the cautionary tale here. And so I kind of just lucked out on these particular headlamps for just a couple bucks. And so that's one of the things that I want to talk about also, is that you don't want to go too cheap. You really don't. And so the problem here is, where is the middle ground? If like for me personally, I've gone through some Energizer headlamps, and I've actually returned them all over the years. I've never like kept them much more than a week or two, because they just the buttons didn't work very well. It wasn't very positive. The light output was really not as good as I thought it was. It was maybe lower output. I don't know. There's a lot of problems that at least I had. But I know a lot of people, especially a lot of people here on YouTube, even subscribers, that say that they've had really good experience with Energizer lights. And hey, that's awesome. Once again, I'm not preaching about a certain brand, but I just know, relatively speaking, in the last few days since I've got these Rayovacs, these really stand out to me as a really good value. But, the test of time will tell. Now, the test of time has told me that this Ozark Trail is really good. And all the reviews that I've read are, I mean, almost 100% positive. Like that you can't hardly even find a negative review on even the different types of the Ozark Trail headlamps. And so, like I said, I think this is one of the lower output ones, and they have one that's like a lot brighter, or at least several that's brighter. And I may even pick up some in the future. The only thing that's kept me back is that they don't have a water rating, or they're not even like somewhat water resistant, even though a lot of people have said that they've been out in the rain like I have and experienced no problem. But you do have an inherent, higher chance of having problems. So what I've even done sometimes is take electrical tape and taped it around the seal where the battery compartment is, just to kind of give me an extra leg up. But I don't want to do that with my lights if I don't have to. Now, going down the list here, we could talk about O-Lights, their headlamps. They've been having some off and on problems. I've been reading, Surefire makes headlamps, Streamlight. I mean, pretty much any kind of major light company is going to make headlamps, at least eventually. And what we see is that there's a large variety of prices. Once again, I mean, it can be like $20 all the way up to many, many hundreds of dollars for a headlamp. And while some of those more expensive headlamps really are more specialized headlamps, you have to come to the conclusion of what do you really need. And so for me, it's as simple as I'm moving into more of impact resistance, at least some basic water resistance, and some at least a decent output, somewhere between 50 to 200 lumens. It seems to get the job done for me. And I've been able to kind of narrow it down that something like this Rayovac, part of their Indestructible series, between $10 and $14 just is really a nice match. It's a nice little matchup, that I didn't really even realize. Even for the matter of this Ozark Trail, it works just fine. But long term, though, I think the Fox Ellie just may not, meet my needs in all the situations, just because of the battery situation, and because in the previous attempt to get longevity out of the original one, the battery actually burnt up just with a few uses. So, the test of time kind of showed me that the Fox Ellie MX10 may not endure for a very long period of time. Unlike something that was so cheesy and cheap like these generic ones that have been around for a long time, at least in my possession, for literally just like I think like $2 roughly. You have all this usage and all this light output, and it just seems kind of funny almost. How is that possible? So, it's all just kind of a big basket of potential until you filter it out and see which works. But I mean, there's no doubt there's some really nice stuff out there. But the real question is do you really need it? If you're into lights and you just want to splurge and get you one or two really nice headlamps, hey man, by all means, I understand. I'm very tempted all the time to throw $50 to $100 into a headlamp. But then I noticed that I don't use headlamps as much as flashlights typically in my everyday life. Now, going camping and stuff, and if I was to have a survival situation or actually start to use some of my preps, like for example, a grid down, or if I had a bug out, the headlamp would probably be used almost exclusively. So in that situation, that's why I'm thinking a little bit more in those terms of maybe I should start caching at least a few more headlamps that are affordable but durable. And so it's kind of led me to have this discussion, at least outwardly. If you have any recommendations for a good budget or at least usable headlamps that are reasonably priced, feel free to share that in the comment section below. As always, thanks for your support. Thanks for hitting the like button. And hey, you guys take care.